The Exxon Valdez oil spill in 1989 was one of this country's worst oil disasters. From the onset of the spill, the race was on to control the damage, but not to Prince William Sound. The race was on to control the damage to Exxon. If information is power, then the ability to change, manipulate information is the ultimate power. For a student doing research on the spill, a simple Google search of Exxon Valdez oil spill produces more than 570,000 results. And not surprisingly, at the top of the search results is the omnipresent Wikipedia. But who created the information on this Wikipedia page? What if I said Exxon did? In 2004, according to a New York Times article, someone at Exxon made significant changes to the description of the spill, downplaying the impact on wildlife while casting a more positive light on Exxon's compensation payments. But Wikipedia isn't the only site where confusion can surface. What about information from organizations like the Brookings Institute or the Cato Institute? The information comes across as authoritative and well-sourced. But the problem is, many of these types of think tanks are nothing more than private organizations that hold political or ideological biases, with much of their research focused on promoting a particular agenda. Information on the web comes in a variety of addresses, whether that is a .com, a .org, or a .gov. But no matter what address the domain, students must be on guard to properly evaluate the credibility and appropriateness of a site's information. Here are 4 criteria to use when evaluating a site. First is authority and credibility. One of the most egregious examples of a website lacking authority or credibility is one purported to be about the civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. When a visitor first accesses this website, there is no obvious indication of the organization behind this .org. It is only at the bottom of the site's homepage that a visitor finds that the website is hosted by Stormfront. The Stormfront link then takes visitors to a webpage explaining that Stormfront is a white supremacist group. At that point, the website's authority and credibility disappear. In contrast, when a visitor clicks on the About link for the diabetes website put together by Medline Plus, they find that the website is published by the National Institutes of Health, a federal government agency, and the aim of the site is to provide patients and their family with information about diseases in a language that an average person can understand. The second criteria is objectivity, bias, and purpose. Take this .com website on healthcare coverage in California. On first glance, the site's purpose appears to be to offer information for California residents on the new healthcare law. But when we look for an About link at the bottom of the homepage, we find a reference to the Republican caucus of the California Assembly. Next to that is a disclaimer link that takes the visitor to a web page stating that the California State Assembly does not warrant or make any representation as to the quality, content, accuracy, or completeness of the information on this site. Given that, the question arises on whether this site's purpose is informational or political. Our third criteria is currency. How current is the information on the web page or website? This can either be expressed by a copyright date or a last updated date. Either of these often appear at the bottom of a web page. In the case of the Medline Plus diabetes site, the web page had been updated only a couple of days before being accessed, a good indication that the information on the web page is current. The fourth criteria is one of the most important. This focuses on whether the website supplies references or documentation on where the site's information came from. A good example of this is the Medline Plus Diabetes website again. The site not only lists its references, but also links with other sites, displaying which sites the information was from and the date that the information was last updated on that site. Other things you can look for when evaluating a website include easy site navigation, a list of links to related organizations or publications, as well as additional research that offers information of high relevancy, accuracy, and scholarship, such as peer-reviewed journals, primary research material, and reports. So remember, if you ever have any questions, there's a number of different ways you can contact the librarians here at the Stewart Library. You can chat live by clicking on the Ask a Librarian link here. You can call us, you can email, or you can come in person to the middle level reference desk and ask your question there.